Hi, I'm Dele Olawanle of Dele and Co. Solicitors. Contact us for advice and representation and advocacy in all areas of immigration law. We take your case from the onset until the conclusion of the case. We provide a one-stop service and we provide advice and representation and advocacy.
Dele & Co. Solicitors. We're friendly, professional and cost-effective. A one-stop shop for immigration affairs as we take your case from the onset and represent you in court if necessary. Located at 659 Green Lanes, Haringey, London, N80QY. We're only 4 minutes walk from the Turnpike Lane tube station on the Piccadilly line. Call 0208 880 9393. That's 0208 880 9393 for more information.
Dele and Co. Solicitors. Legal advice you can rely on.
Hello viewers and welcome to today's edition of the Legal Panorama. With me in the studio today is Mr. Dele Olawanle of Dele & Co. Solicitors. You're welcome, sir.
You're welcome too.
So this program has been on TV for many, many years. But as we know, there's always people who are watching this program for the first time who may not know anything about this program. So if you could just please tell them what this program is all about.
It is interesting what you said. From time to time, almost every day, people call and say, well, what is this program about? What are the things you are talking about? This program came about due to an experience I had with the Immigration Authority many years ago. And when I was detained for immigration offenses, and I was in detention for about 5 weeks, and I saw a lot of people in detention, a lot of people out there who were detained. Some of them were innocent, some of them didn't even know why they were there. Some of them were wrongly advised by lawyers and friends. Some of them didn't even know why they were there. They didn't know anything about immigration law. Some of them were brought into the country by people who promised them a better life, and the moment they got here, they got kicked out and they had to fend for themselves. So I decided that once I come out and I finish my law degree, I'm going to do a program to educate the public on their rights and their obligations. So the purpose of this program is to educate people on their legal rights, obligations, your duties, what the UK immigration law is about. We take the law, we simplify, we let you know the most basic stuff that you need to know, and so that if you want a follow-up or you want to get further legal advice, or you want to have your situation to be examined by doctors, we are immigration doctors. So we can explain to you. So that is what the program is about. And if you are watching it, maybe you don't have any immigration issues, you are a British citizen, you are a European national, there may be a friend of yours, there may be relatives who need legal advice, who may fall into the hand of the immigration authority. Even if you don't need it today, keep the number. It will come in handy. I remember there was a couple that came to us the other time, some years back, and they said that, they've been watching it for years, but they took the number, and one of their relatives was arrested, and they called the number, and we were able to represent them and get them out of detention. So it is the safest place to be, either for you or for your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't change the dial.
So with 2016 coming to an end and 2017 fast approaching, what are viewers to expect?
Immigration landscape is always changing. As we are sitting here, there are people sitting at the Home Office. They watch the trends of applications made to the Home Office. They watch the patterns of the behavior of people, and they watch the quota, whether they have reached targets, and also there is a control mechanism in that you don't want to open a floodgates of status for all. So as we are sitting here, they are cooking a lot of things, planning a lot of things, trying to change laws, trying to tighten up. It could be with the tier one entrepreneur visa or the tier one investor visa. You understand, special talent and things like that. They are always working, and who can blame them? Because people are looking for opportunities to stay. So when it comes to immigration law, people should expect that things will change by April 2017. Or they should expect the fee to rise. What they did in 2016, which I'll call last year now, was to increase the fee at the middle of March instead of so that a lot of people will not be able to beat the price increase. So they should expect the laws to change, and also the enforcement of the port first and the appeal later. It's already biting, but it may become accelerated and heightened in the new year, and also the fact that a lot of people are not being given a right of appeal within the UK, and they are being given a right of appeal outside the UK. That means they are asking people to go to leave the country and go and apply from abroad, which is the reason why if you make an application now and you don't have a passport, they are going to return the application unprocessed. In that they want to make sure that they have everybody's passport so that they can easily pick them when they want to remove them, because it could take years and months to get travel documents from some embassies to remove people. So a lot is changing. But even without anything changing, there is a lot already happening in the area of family life, private life, and human rights, immigration rules, and the fact that the caseworkers have little or no discretion when it comes to immigration rules. So they should expect the Home Office to be Home Office, but trust lawyers, they will always be there to use creative knowledge to act in the best interest of their clients.
Thank you, sir. So with Brexit, what is it? What is Brexit, and what impact is it likely to have on immigrants from outside the EU?
That is interesting. The UK decided to leave the European Union. They want to go it alone. Now, the interesting thing about Brexit is that a lot of people voted without knowing what they are voting for. A lot of people voted without knowing the impact. I looked at the fact that they said, well, they want to stay out of Europe, they want to be on their own. But I remember being on a flight to Spain in in October, late October, and we were about 300 on that flight. And when we got to Malaga and we came out of the plane, I saw that almost everyone on that plane were holding a British passport. And I said, these people cannot leave Europe. They can't leave Britain. I don't think they want to miss the opportunity to go and enjoy the sunny weather. So I don't think Brexit is going to happen. And if it happens, there is going to take some years, a minimum of 2 years. And if it happens, we don't know, maybe there's going to be a cutoff date for people who came from Europe, who have been living here, to be able to stay in the UK. But as far as we are concerned now, nothing has happened. Things are normal. So there should be no panic, but I will strongly suggest that if you are a European national who have been exercising treaty rights in the UK for some time, I would strongly suggest that you apply for a permit to continue to live here officially, or if you have lived there for 5 years, make sure you apply for permanent residence. So Brexit or no Brexit, then you won't be affected. But we will see. Theresa May is trying to push it through, but the the parliament and the courts are not uh, very supportive. They are actually talking of a second referendum, and I think Blair was talking about that and some other people, and I think I'll support that. I believe we should stay in Europe, though the people have spoken, but we don't know who spoke and what their understanding about Brexit means.
Thank you, sir. So, what can overstayers do to regularize their situation?
Um, yes, if you want to regularize your stay, if anyone is watching out there, whether you are an EEA national exercising treaty rights in the United Kingdom, you can apply, make an application to if you've lived there for 5 years, you may be able to apply to get a permanent residence. And if you have family members, they also can apply and regularize their stay. And if there are other people also from outside the European Union, those also can get legal advice on what to do depending on their circumstances, whether they had been refused in the past, whether they had their appeal dismissed, whether they have never made an application. It's always like a circle. You have this, today you make an application, tomorrow it is refused. There is a right of appeal, there is no right of appeal, there is judicial review, no judicial review. Those people can still do something about their situation to regularize their stay. Get legal advice, call a solicitor, and see them so that they can tell you what to do. It is always important to get legal advice so that you save a lot of money and hassles if you get legal advice before making an application, whether as an EA national or someone from outside the European Union.
Thank you, sir. So, if an application is refused, what can be done about it?
It does not happen in all cases, but it happens in some cases that you make an application and it is refused. Now, sometimes when an application is refused, it could be purely a technical issue, maybe a misunderstanding on the part of the caseworker. If you are given a right of appeal, you can make a right of appeal. The purpose of giving you a right of appeal is to be able to explain to an immigration judge why you think the refusal is wrong. So if you are given a right of appeal, make sure you get legal advice before deciding not to appeal. Make sure you see a lawyer if you are refused with a right of appeal. And if you are refused without a right of appeal, it is not the end of the road. Get legal advice. I remember there was a client that called the other time, or a prospective client, and started crying and said she had not slept for 3 weeks since her application was refused without a right of appeal, until they watched the Legal Panorama and saw that it is not the end of the road. You can challenge it with judicial review pre-action protocol. You can challenge it with judicial review, and if that is reviewed, you can challenge it with an oral hearing of the judicial review application. And during that time, you may reach another milestone in terms of the length of your length of residence in the United Kingdom. It may well be that your situation has changed. Maybe you have you are now in a relationship. Maybe you now have a child. Things do change. Nothing is permanent in terms of immigration rules. So it is always good. If your application is refused, were you given a right of appeal? You can go and say, a lawyer, is it worth it appealing? Do you have the prospect of success in the appeal? If no, then what is the option? If you are refused without a right of appeal, say a lawyer. What is the option? What can you do? What are the things you need to put in place to have the chances of winning? Don't just sit at home and or hide or go into hiding without doing something about your situation. And it does not mean because you are refused today, they will take you tomorrow. It is a process. But then, if you don't do nothing, it makes it easier for you to be removed. even though you may have a good case.
Thank you, sir. So for people whose applications have been refused in the past, what can they do about it?
Following what I said earlier, the fact that an application was refused does not mean that it is the end of the road. It does not mean that you cannot make a fresh application. It depends on your circumstances. For instance, you may have a child that is 6 when the application that was 6 when the application was refused, and then the child is 7. When the child was 6, you are not within the immigration rule. When the child is 7, you are within the immigration rules. So you can see a solicitor, a lawyer, to advise you on what to do. So if your application had been was refused in the past, it's not the end of the road. Get legal advice. It is always very important. I believe that it is the most important thing you can do. At least know. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. There is nothing wrong with saying, okay, what is going on? What can I do? And it may well be that your situation has changed. So therefore, get legal advice if your application was refused in the past. The fact that your application was refused in the past does not mean that it will not be granted today or it will not be granted tomorrow. It is always good to know your current situation and what is likely to happen if you wait for a few months or maybe wait for a year, but then you'll be putting yourself at risk hanging around in the UK without any application and without regularizing your stay. And if you wait until you are picked up by the immigration authority and you are now claiming human rights, they will certify it as unfounded on the basis that if they had not arrested you, you wouldn't have done anything. And then if you go and make an application for judicial review trying to get an injunction to stop your removal, the judges will think you are not serious, because if they had not arrested you, you wouldn't have done anything. So don't wait until you are arrested. Do something.
And for people whose appeal were dismissed in the past, what can they do, or is that the end of the road?
Again, that is an interesting one. She's talking now of people who were granted the right of appeal and the appeal was dismissed. That means the judge did not allow the appeal, so you lost. Now, again, it is not the end of the road, because it may well be that the judge made an error of law in that the judge did not apply the law correctly. But you and a layman will not be able to know what is an error of law, because it is not regurgitating facts, repeating facts. I'm talking about, the judge did not say this, I answered this question, he didn't say this. No, that's not what we're talking about. We are talking of a misapplication of the rule, a misapplication of the facts of the case, and whether the law was correctly interpreted or whether the judge omitted to take into account what he should have taken into account. So when we talk of an error of law, don't just scribble something. Get legal advice. Lawyers are better at spotting an error of law than a layman, just like a doctor. You may think that your red eye is just an infection. It may be worse than that. Doctors will be able to know. So the same thing, immigration lawyers will be able to tell you whether a judge made an error of law. That means if your appeal is refused. Also, if it had been a while when your appeal was dismissed, then it may well be the time to make a fresh application, or to maybe see if you can apply out of time to challenge the decision of the immigration judge, or just look at maybe making further representation to the Home Office. There are many options. It is not closed just because an immigration judge dismissed the case. It's not the end of the road. I sitting here, I made an application in the past, and it was refused for 10 years. I reported that an immigration police stations for over 8 years, I was detained for 5 weeks. I went to court several times, but I'm still here, now a citizen. So if I had called it quits, my wife was here, my children are here, all British, and they wanted to remove me. Where am I going to go? So I stayed. I just, but I made sure I did not stay without regularizing my stay. I was also reporting to the immigration authority. I did not run away. So there is a lot that can happen when you make yourself available to the authority and you pursue your case through the legal channels. Eventually, you may succeed.
Thank you, sir. So how can your firm assist people on their immigration matter, and how experienced are you?
Very, very. Actually, immigration is my life. Personally, I went through it for 10 years before I was granted the right to remain in the United Kingdom. I used seven to eight different lawyers. I made several applications to the Home Office. I made application for judicial review. I went to court several times. I was detained at the police station for 5 weeks. I was taken to detention center and locked up. I was taken to the airport, Gatwick Airport, to be deported, but then got an injunction. So I know what it feels like to be an immigrant. I have been there before I was delivered, before the Home Office had compassion and mercy on me and granted me the right to stay. So in terms of personal experience, I have been through it, and I've been practicing law for many years. I have appeared in almost all courts when it comes to immigration matters in the United Kingdom. Most of the cases in our firm is argued by me. So when we talk of experience, it's not lacking. So from making an application to making representation, making an application for judicial review, filing an appeal, preparing an appeal, arguing the case, we are there. So if there's anyone that is interested in our services, you can call the number on the screen to book an appointment. We don't give telephone advice for confidentiality. Everything we are doing here is free. But if you want to take your matter further, and I want to say that everything I've said here is a general advice on the basis that we don't know the facts of your case. So for you to be able to rely on this advice, you have to get further legal advice to explain to us your particular circumstances. Are you married? Do you have children?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time today, and thank you so much to our viewers for tuning in to today's program of the Legal Panorama. Now, if you require any more information, or if there was something that we discussed, such as appeals, that you didn't quite understand and you would like to see Mr. Dele Olawanle in person, feel free to contact the number on your screen and visit Mr. Dele Olawanle at Dele & Co Solicitors. Also, feel free to contact and to engage with social media with Dele & Co Solicitors. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for tuning into The Legal Panorama, presented by Dele Olawanle of Dele & Co Solicitors. Talk to Dele & Co Solicitors. We can professionally help you in the following areas: obtaining and/or extending your visa, asylum, humanitarian protection and discretionary leave, application for overstayers, immigration and asylum appeals, judicial review at the High Court, Tier 1 to 5 under the point system, including post-study work, fiancé visas, settlement applications, indefinite leave to remain, ILR, neutralisation, citizenship, entry clearance and appeal against visa refusals abroad, reconsideration of visa refusals abroad. In addition, we do other areas of law like family, traffic offences, employment, civil and criminal litigation and advocacy. If you need legal advice, call Dele & Co Solicitors now on 0208 880 9393 or visit our website www.delsolicitors.co.uk. Dele & Co Solicitors, legal advice you can rely on.
From one of the best authors, Dele Olawanle, comes 5 empowering new books.
Hello friends, I'm Dele Olawanle. If there's any word I have for you today, it is simple. Read to lead. Read to lead. Readers are leaders. Over the years, I've written several books that have changed and transformed lives beyond their widest imagination. My first book, Discover Your Purpose, is simply saying that if you discover who you are, all hell will break loose. You'll be able to fulfill your destiny. And the second book says, prayer is not the answer. Now, as a pastor, some of you know me as a pastor, some of you know me as a lawyer, but a lot of people are praying without a corresponding action on their part. And if you only pray without playing your part, failure is guaranteed. Prayer is not the answer, it's to challenge you to pray and to work hard and to become an influencer of generations. The third book, Add Value, is saying to you simply that, look, if you add value to your life, there is no barrier to success. Now, people come to me from over 52 countries to instruct me as a lawyer. Why? Because I added value to my life. Irrespective of your gender, your color, your nationality, your ethnic origin, if you have what people want, when you add value, they will come to you, they will patronize you. And the fourth book says, if you have everything and you don't have good character, all hell will break loose. Denied by character also will change your life. The latest blockbuster, forwarded by Pastor Kumuyi of Deeper Life, is saying to you that, look, there are patterns to failure, there are patterns to success. So if you break the pattern of failure in this book, breaking the pattern of failure, your life will be transformed and then you will be a winner. I want you to understand that revelation liberates, knowledge delivers. Go on and make it, and I'll see you at the top.
All these books available as Kindle edition or paperback and are available at Amazon, Waterstones, and all other good bookstores. Visit online at pastordele.com or you can call 07535 659 032. 5 empowering new books by Dele Olawanle. Get your copy today.